Hello, and welcome to Accounting Radio. This is bringing you the hits of old and new with managerial accounting. Your host, Professor Naragon. How are you doing? We're going to bring you the Chapter 14 homework this time around in this video. So be prepared to learn a little bit and follow along. Now, with our Blackboard, we can connect to Chapter 14 homework in two ways. One is actually go to the homework assignments in your course content, and you can click actually Chapter 14. I would suggest to do this the first time around so that Blackboard can sync with Connect so you can see your grades. And if you do so, click on that. It will direct you basically to this page as Connect loads, and it's going to be this chapter right here. Awesome screen right there. So I'm on, come on, sit there. Alright, so with this, again, unlimited tries. Always check the due dates as due dates are subjected to change. And we want to click start. Now again, you're going to see the ebook over here. You can see print, you can see references, and they may be a hint button every now and then, depending on where we're going. So, this one, as you notice, there is no videos as there were in 2301, except we jump right into the questions. So starting off with question number 1, we're looking at the big three. The direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. And we're basically going to figure out which one's which. So for this one, anything that's dealing with the product itself that we can trace to it is going to be either direct materials, direct labor. If it's indirect, it could be factory overhead. And if you need to know again what they are, you can always pop up to your notes. And again, direct can be traced to the product, indirect cannot. And also, product cost right here, which we'll get into in just a sec. Back to chapter 14. So let's look at this. We're looking at tennis balls and how are they made. So first off, factory overhead is probably going to be anything key with that says factory. Well, if I look at here, I have insurance on factory. That's an indirect because I can't trace it to any kind of tennis balls. I'm just looking for keywords of factory. Again, that's always funny when Connect gives you basically a 50-50 shot right there. There's factory rent. And there's factory managed salary. Notice anything that's really related to the factory itself is no good for us. I mean, it's going to be basically overhead. We don't have to think if it's going to be direct materials or direct labor. And again, if you ever have any questions or doubt yourself after you select something, you can always hit check my work. It's always a good, helpful tool. And again, with Connect, it will say answer is not complete if we haven't finished all the answers. It will not tell you what's missing, but it will say answer not complete, so you know something is. Now, we have two more right here. We have cans to package the balls, which, of course, that has to be direct materials because if you picture any kind of tennis balls in any sports place, they usually are packed in a can or something. And since the can itself is part of the packaging, and that has to be part of the product, that is a direct material. So, and then wages paid to assembly workers, that one's right now we got assembly itself says that they work with the product. The only one that has any kind of labor or basically employees is direct labor. And boom. Again, look how Connect gives you a 50-50 shot. So if somehow it says one's wrong, pick the other version of it, and you should be just fine. So again, check my work. Answer is completely incorrect. We are able to move on. So moving on to the next question. We now need to identify the following costs as either product costs or period costs. So, like I say, with these, if you need help, you can always switch back to the notes. Here, we find out that product cost has to be either direct materials, direct labor, or manufacturer overhead. Again, these are all dealing with the product itself. Period costs, again, is all about sales, maintenance. It's stuff that does not deal with the product or the factory, but deals with basically sales staff or corporate office, so office stuff. So, knowing that, seeing that, let's go to this. And we find out that we're just going to go down the list and see if it deals anything with the factory or with the product, or if it deals with something else. First one is office supplies used. Again, keyword is office. So since it's office, that is a period cost. It only deals with management, higher up management, their offices, corporate office. Accident insurance for factory workers. That's a product, deals with the factory. Factory utilities. Again, notice the keyword. Again, is a lot of times it's factory. Sales commissions. That's our period. Depreciation, factory. Again, factory, product. Depreciation, office. Again, office is the key term. That has to be a period. And then rent on factory. So again, the biggest thing to figure out between period and product is, does it deal with the factory? Is it part of actual production? Sales staff is not part of production. They're there just to sell. And then office people, again, they're administrators. They're not dealing with the product in a way of producing it, so they're not considered a product cost. Always hit check my work, boom, and we can move on. So now we're moving into more of the math base, actually knowing what goes into basically cost of manufacturer, computing work in progress, or WIP, and other items. So again, we can always check our notes and go right to the math sections. Right here, here's cost of goods manufactured, here's cost of goods sold, and we can actually look right here for anything that we need to actually create our items for these answers. So let's start off. Total manufacturing cost is always going to be the big three. It's always going to be the big three. So in our notes, it's right here. It actually shows it right there. Equals total manufacturing cost. So big three we're going to get. So direct labor. Now, does it matter in the order? Not really. Connect just wants to see and make sure that the numbers are used. So again, we're going to put in our numbers. Make sure you put them with the right ones. 5,900. And then if you notice, Connect is actually doing the math for us right now. Now that's not the correct answer because we know we got a few more blanks, but it helps if they do it for us. Again, my numbers are not going to show up to the way yours are because programs are different, but the principles are still the same. So as long as you follow along with the principles and understand the principles, you're A-okay. Rock on. I'll always tell you this rule of thumb: always add the beginning always subtract the ending. If anytime you have to add beginning of the year, or you have beginning of the year, or you have ending of the year, best thing, add beginning, subtract the ending. So we're going to add work in progress beginning of the year, and that was 26,800. And then this time we're just going to subtract cost of goods manufactured, because one, we're finding out work in progress inventory at end of the year, so we got to get rid of cost of goods manufactured. And it should be 48,300. Again, check my work. Boom, everything's good, everything's green, answer is complete and correct. Notice again, right here, Connect basically gave you a blank to try and trick you. Connect loves to do that. So it gives you extra information. See if you want to fill it in and think that something has to be there. If you know your work, know your stuff, you should be A-okay and able to find out on anything. Let's go with 4. Okay, now it's time to compute cost of goods sold. Again, you can check your notes real quick. Here's cost of goods sold. So you actually see what goes into it. Again, notes work good with the homework. So, can't use them for quizzes, but they still work for the homework. Always look in. It will help you out. So, cost of goods sold. We're going to take our beginning, and we're going to add cost of goods manufactured. And of course, we're going to subtract our ending. Oh, there's another blank. What's this blank? Oh yeah. Now it's goods available for sale. Again, verify right there to get goods available for sale. Notes work good. Always use them. Okay. So beginning finished good inventory was 900. Cost of goods manufactured 692. And then ending finished goods was 800. And if anything, if you need help with Connect, I will tell you this: if you put a number in, you're going to see if it's totaling up for you. You're going to see if it's going to rise or fall. If it falls, you know it's a less. If it rises, you know it's an add. You just got to pick the right account. Again, always check my work. Boom. And we move on. Alright. So now we're still doing cost of goods sold. But we see more accounts. Again, if you feel like it, you can always press the hint button, play the video if it helps you out. If you need to, look at the notes. But again, we know cost of goods sold does not deal with WIP or work in progress. It only deals with 3 accounts. And if I need help also, now that I know this is correct, I can just go right back to this one. And it looks like it's just copying down the items. Yeah? So, finished goods on 2016, because that's the way we begin, 2016, and we're looking for 2017. Again, we know we add cost of goods manufactured. This is our cost of goods available for sale. And then we subtract out the ending. Cool. So, put in our numbers. Finished goods inventory was 378,123. Cost of goods manufactured 927,100. And then subtract out finish 304,123. Whoa, I finished out with 1,001,100. That is crazy. But it all works, all checks out. Nice and good. So we're halfway done with the homework already. Nice. So all we got is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So again, it's all about looking at what's going on and how to actually fix it. Here, 2017, Barton Company has again goods manufactured. This looks kind of familiar to, I think, what was it, 3? Yeah, kind of familiar here. But notice this. It's finding cost of goods manufactured, not ending work in progress. So it's going to switch the two. So again, we take our big 3. I'm actually going to put this in order this time around. Direct labor and factory overhead. We know that's nothing else. We only got 5 accounts. This one takes care of work in progress. Again, always add the beginning. And this time we're going to subtract the ending. So again, fill out the info. 227, 500. 65, 500. Factory overhead is 24.3. And beginning 167, 800. Ending 145, 750. Boom. Check my work. Everything good. Answer is complete and correct. Awesome sauce. So again, this one's familiar to problem 3, except it's just switched these two, but still you just subtract it out to get the other one. That's all you end up doing. Let's move to question 7. Oh, question 7 adds a couple of columns here. So again, if I forget what variable and fixed is, I can run all the way up here, find our definitions. Again, variable cost changes in proportion according to the volumes. Fixed cost does not change. Direct cost can be traced. Indirect cannot. So what are we looking at? We're listing product cost and production of soccer balls. Cool. So again, watch out. You may get the same stuff. You may get different, but you want to look at those definitions. Variable costs will change as we have different volumes. Fixed costs will not. And then direct has to be traced to the product or can be easily traced. Indirect does not. So starting off, coolants for machinery is going to be a fixed. It is fixed mostly because coolants, we only buy so many coolants, probably keep it like that, and basically machines only take so much coolant, so we're not going to run out of coolant until the machine uses it. Now, will it follow indirect or direct? It is for machinery, and machinery could be direct. So if you always forget, you can always check. Notice this, even though it's for machinery and we know it's basically with factory overhead, it's not going to be direct. In fact, Connect will tell you that right off the bat. It's actually going to run into indirect. The reason why on this, again, the machinery and the coolants, since it cannot be traced, follow basically overhead. It's going to be overhead, but it's still a product cost. So these little subjects do get confusing just a little bit. But again, just like I just showed you, if you just if you just miss it, you can always check my work and then just flip it to the other. You either have a 50-50 shot. The thing is trying to understand, well, if I got it wrong, why did I get it wrong? Why did it not make sense? And that's the thing. I mean, I know machinery is a product cost. I know it works with the product, but is it a part of the product? That's how direct and indirect tend to go. So annual flat fee paid for factory security. Since this is an annual flat fee, that basically stands for almost salary. That's a fixed. Security does not have anything with the product. Leather covers for soccer balls. Now, since leather is a material, it will be variable. We don't know how much we're going to get, how much the costing is, will it rise, will it fall? And since it is dealing with the product itself and it's a major component, just like in our notes with the bicycles, with the seat and the frame and the tires, leather is definitely part of the ball. Can't make the ball without the leather. So that will be a direct. Machinery depreciation, keyword straight line. Well, that's fixed. Straight line's always fixed, and that should be indirect. Reason why, again, it's dealing with the machinery. It's not dealing with an actual direct cost of the product. Taxes on factory, usually fixed. That one can swing either way, but for connect purposes is fixed, and it also is indirect. Laces hold together. Well, again, it's a material, it's variable. Fortunately, with laces, we don't trace that. So, we're not going to trace many laces. It's like tracing a bunch of screws for a car. We're not going to actually go physically label all of them and make sure. So again, if it's an insignificant basically part of the product, insignificant material, that's indirect, basically going to get shifted into overhead. So again, what you're seeing is with direct and indirect, will it get shifted into overhead or not? Wages of assembly workers, that's going to be variable because again, wages, that's hourly. And I can pay you any money I want to hourly. I can change it up. I can fire people. I can hire people. That's all different. Doesn't stay. But since they're assembly workers, that's direct labor. If I can relate it to direct labor or direct materials, we are good to go on direct. Again, check my work. Boom. Everything's cool. Alright, so question 8. Question 8 brings a lot. There's two companies here, and for this video, I'm only going to deal with Garcon. So you will have to have Pepper Company, but if you follow along and get everything in, you should be fine to fill in those numbers. So with Garcon, I will tell you this: the easiest way to tackle this product is probably to print out this list or copy it to Microsoft Word or something so you can highlight, change it up to what's in direct materials, what is not in direct materials, or direct labor, management, overhead, and anything else. So with this list, I'm basically going to go through this part right here. So direct materials. One, we're always going to start with the beginning raw materials to get to the direct materials that have been used. So again, at beginning, and during the year, we actually add on raw materials we're purchasing. So we need to add the raw material purchase. So this gets us our raw materials available for use. Now, it's good to get these concepts because when we get into the budgets later on in this course, you will end up have to do some of these and figure out should we take the material, should we not, and it's good to go ahead and already know what's going on. So to get our direct materials basically used, again, we always subtract out the ending, so less ending raw material inventory. And let's go ahead and figure this out for Garcon. Let's look at the beginning. There's the beginning. So 10,100. Add the raw materials. Find the raw purchases. There they are. 41,500. And less ending raw materials inventory. 5,700. And there we go. Is 45,900. So next one, if we notice again, total manufacturing cost is the big three. Well, we have direct materials, we have direct labor. Well, we didn't have direct labor, that was blank, but we had factory overhead. So again, so all it is filling in the missing third. So direct labor, there's only one, 22,400. Makes life easy. We don't have to actually try and figure it out. Alright, so we have 22,400. Notice that it does fill in zeros over here until we get to those numbers. Again, all you have to do is match it up for our pepper company also and just fill in the numbers. So next we have factory overhead. So basically up here, anything that's dealing with the factory itself that we can figure out as indirect, we will want to put. So best thing I would say, just go down the list and see. I see factory supplies used. I see factory utilities. We see indirect labor. Now we know indirect labor is also part of overhead. That's the managers on the production floor. Let's see, repairs and rental costs. And that should be all of them. No worries there. So let's go find them. So factory supplies used. Let's find that one. There it is. 8,500. Factory utilities. Was right above it. 12,300. Again, a lot of jibba jabba up there. So sometimes it just helps to highlight and stuff. That's why I suggest to go ahead and print. I'm looking for indirect labor. Right there, 1,700. Again, you will notice that Connect is adding everything up for you, which is awesome. That saves us a little time. Rental cost, there we go, 31,500. And then repairs, 7,580. And boom, we find out that we have 61,580 on factory overhead. So now we get to figure out our manufacturing cost. So we'll whoop out our calculator over here, clear all, and we're going to take 45,900 plus 22,400, and then add our total overhead, which was 61,580. So our cost that we actually have to figure out this time around is 129,880. Alright, so that's our total manufacturing cost. Again, if I want to look at the notes or back in my homework, we can do that to see what we need to add on and what to subtract. Here we know to add beginning work in progress and subtract out ending. Again, rule of thumb, we always add the beginning, always subtract the ending. So beginning work in progress was 15,400, and ending work in progress, let's see, there it is, was 23,500. So my cost of goods manufacturing should be 121,780. And I can check right now. So let's go ahead and check. Everything matches. Everything's good to go. So we know that's true. That's a true number right there for cost of goods manufacturing. So we go to require 2, which has us do cost of goods sold. So again, knowing from our previous, it's beginning less, or add the cost of goods manufactured, and then subtract out our ending. So for Garcon, we find beginning is 14,500. We know our ending right here is finished goods inventory 18,500. And right now we don't have cost of goods manufactured up here. That's because in required 1, that's where we figured it out. So it's always good to check my work right before you go to required 2 so you know what you're doing. 121,780 gets put right here. And then it fills out the remaining amount, and we should have cost of goods sold of 117,780. So again, check my work. We find out everything's correct. Again, it's saying answer is not complete because I'm not doing the other half. But once you get everything done, make sure it says answer is complete. And again, this is a good way to check your cost of goods manufactured if you want to, because you have to take it from required 1. Alright. So question number 9 is doing pretty much the same thing as question 8, except it gives us T-charts, and which helps us out. Again, you can take it from raw materials for your direct materials, because again we're doing the big 3, or you can just use it from work in progress, because work in process actually helps out because it already has all our big 3. So let's put those in. Direct labor, direct materials. Does it have anything else? No. So it's really just our big 3. Didn't have anything else. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to look up here. Direct labor was 32,700. Direct materials was 52,500. And then overhead ends up being 60,500. Cool. And now we just add again the beginning, which should be 2016, since we're doing it for the year ended December 31st, 2017. Less work in progress, and we just fill that in. So beginning inventory, it was 17,000. And then ending inventory was 14,000 right here. And I should end up with 148,700. Now look up right here in your work in progress. Cost of goods manufactured, 148,700. Boom, we are correct. The total cost in work in progress should be the 162,700. They are also correct. And of course, double check. Oh, we had a little error, but that looks like it fixed. But we just check it over, and now we can move to required 2. And of course, required 2, we have cost of goods sold, so we're trying to figure this out. Again, same stuff, finished goods beginning, add our cost of goods manufactured, and less our finished goods ending. So for our numbers, again, we can pick them up right here. It's basically right here already. So 21,400, cost of goods manufactured 148,700, and then ending 21,600. Should come out with 149,500 cost of goods. So basically what question number 9 is seeing if you can take from the T charts and basically make them into financial statements. And this is really comes very easy once you can see where they're flowing from, and then you can always verify yourself. So again, we already know we've done this now for like almost 4 problems doing these two basically statements themselves, so we know we're good to go. So number 10 comes around, and number 10 has all these accounts, has money. We're not focused on that. We're only focused on classification. So we're going to classify through all of these, either if they're going to be a product cost or a period cost. So going through advertising expense. Advertising expense does not really go with the product. It's not in the production of it. So we know that has to be a period cost. So during this problem, you need to go ahead and put NA if it's not dealing with that particular cost, because you cannot leave any cells blank. Type of period cost, we have 2. Advertising is always going to be a selling thing, because again, that's all about marketing. So let's go down the list real quick of either product or period cost. So depreciation expense, office, that's a period. Selling, again, that's a period. Factory, there's the keyword factory. Anything that's dealing with the factory has to deal with the production of the item, no matter what the item is. Factory supervision, again, product, factory supplies, product, factory utilities, product, direct, indirect. We just found out through prior ones that those are both products. So that's overhead right there. Miscellaneous production costs. Again, it has production right there, so that has to be a product. Office has to be a period because that's dealing with the office personnel. Raw materials purchased, that's a product. And then we got rent expense. So these two both do not have factory. They're dealing with either administrative or they're dealing with selling. Factory building, again, product. Maintenance, product. Sales. Now, sales is a special one. Sales is not a cost. That's a revenue. So, since it's not a cost, it has to be neither. Okay? Watch out for that one. That one's always deemed to trick people up. And then you have sales, salaries, expense. Again, it's dealing with the sales. So, you can always sit check my work after you finish that column. Make sure everything's correct. And now, I'm not going to go through and put NA for everything. We're just going to do the period or product cost, because with all the NAs, it's probably going to fill up a little bit too much. So it's going to look all mixed up. So we're just going to do, if it's period or product, you do need to still fill in the NAs. Okay? So depreciation expense, since this is office, it's going to be known as a general administrative. Selling, again, selling expenses. This is a product cost. Since it's depreciation, it's only going to be an overhead. It's not related to labor. It's not related to materials. Factory supervision, again, overhead. Even though it's supervision, they're not the assembly workers. They're not physically putting together the product. Supplies used, also overhead. Utilities, overhead. Now, factory supplies used, depending on how Connect wants to deal with it, could actually figure that in materials. But since it's just something regular as regular supplies, that feels like it's more insignificant. It's usually indirect by the way that Connect likes to do it. Direct labor, of course, is direct labor. Indirect, we've already known that that's factory overhead. Miscellaneous, it's always going to be factory overhead. Again, that's not tied to anything. It's not tied to materials or labor. It has to be indirect cost because it's just a lump sum. Okay. Office salaries, of course, it has office. If it has office, it's usually G&A, general and administrative, so we don't have to worry. Raw materials, direct materials, office space, G&A, selling space, selling, factory building, again that's rent, it's overhead, maintenance on factory stuff, again overhead, sales, since it's neither, we have nothing there except for NAs, so make sure you put your NAs for both. Sales salary expense, selling expense. So check my work. Let's see if there's anything that kind of goes a little crazy. Nope. So that's all there. Again, all you need to do is fill in the blanks as NA and move on throughout the rest. Again, this last one with sales is NA. Okay, so that's it for the homework for chapter 14. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me. You can put a comment in. I'll probably see the comments. Just let me know if you got any questions. I'll be more than welcome to answer them. Okay, I will see you for the next video.